Up the road to the northwest of where I'm standing right now, about 50 miles or so, is Tallahassee. And that's where we find storm tracker Jim Cantore. And Jim, I know you're going to have your eyes on everything tomorrow. What are you most interested to see play out throughout the day tomorrow?
Great question, Chris. Let's start with tonight. Do we undergo kind of this super rapid intensification? Because
Jim, I want to tap into your experience and your perspective as well. And, of course, your big heart that I know you have. So it's a massive storm, right? It's going to be a massive hurricane, a strong hurricane affecting almost the entire peninsula. So we're seeing the hurricane warnings and tropical storm warnings taking up most of Florida. And then tropical storm warnings extending or watches extending all the way up into Georgia, and the rain aspect, the multiple states, almost countless counties, right? So when you look back on any storms that you've covered, does this remind you of anything?
it doesn't, because I've done 114 of these. And it is the first time, certainly, there's a part of me on my family, my kids, and my Weather Channel colleagues like you, Chris. You've got a wife and kids as well that you are leaving home when you're out there. So I'm thinking about all of us as a team and how we're going to deal with that, obviously, as well as cover the hurricane.
But also made me realize first responders do that almost on a daily basis when they're in a zone,
absolutely,
right, where it is dangerous. So it just makes me appreciate that so much more of what they do. But going back, Jim, the fact that you haven't seen something like this, and this is all. Yeah, no. Go ahead. I want to follow up, but go ahead. I know you're going to say something there.
No, I was just going to say, no, I haven't seen this. And you were mentioning first responders. Part of that first responder group, National Weather Service. All right, folks that work at TV stations locally as well. And again, I'm not putting any of us or them above anybody else, because there are people that are going to lose homes. There are people that are going to see flooded homes, and there are going to be far worse problems than what all of us are going to deal with. So that's why we're out here. That's why we're giving this message. And I just want to make sure that everybody kind of got that point.
Yeah. Part of that is the fact that when we look at something that we haven't seen before, right? And how does the National Weather Service, how do you really communicate the extent? Because we can predict the weather as best as the computers and the best of experience can do, but we can't really predict what's going to happen once the weather happens. How are people going to react to it? How are all the structures? How are all the systems going to react to what happens? And that's what, I guess, how do you communicate that? How do you warn on that? Is really, I think, my concern. It's that unknown of something that hasn't happened, we haven't seen before.
Chris, I've done 114 of these, and every single one of them is different. So we hone in on the impacts. We like to show you all the maps that we can. I love that power outage map that we show, so people can get an idea of where they're going to lose power. Also discussing how, hey, when trees come down, you got to move those first, then you got to get those back. We've already got rainfall that's going to be so heavy in Appalachia that there are forecasted crests in some of the rivers in western North Carolina that are already at record. Before the rain has even fallen, we got record forecast crests that are coming out. So you try and key in on all these aspects and prepare people as best as we can, because, we do have the insight of knowing what's coming, which is also, frankly, what puts the pit in our stomach.
Right. And when you look at, of course, the wind and the flooding, Jim, I think flooding is always one of the hardest things to predict. How the rain, once it falls, what's going to happen. That is the tough one. How much water gets into this drainage basin versus that drainage basin? I guess one of the huge wild cards, Jim, with this.
And when you think about a system that's going to get tangled up with a front, we've seen those before, right, Chris? Back in Matthew in North Carolina, a system got tangled up with a front and produced phenomenal rainfall. Are we talking about potential rainfall records from a tropical system with a state? Yes, we are. So those are the kind of things, when we mention a historic storm, those are the things that we're thinking and have absolutely a possibility. We'll be right back.